Hey guys, Chris here. I thought I'd take the time to show off my fuel generator setup that I just finished. I'm really proud of it, and I thought it'd be kind of fun just to like show you guys what's going on with it. So, yeah, I have it set up all the way up here. So, let's go. Let me find my dune buggy. Alright. I'll go ahead and skip to when I get there. Alright, we're here. Okay, so this is the very first part of it. This is the first thing I worked on. The whole point... Oh wait, it's auto-saving. Okay, there we go. The whole point to this train station right here is to make compact coal. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'll just ride to this train station. Oh, and by the way, yes, everything is on a floating platform. It makes zero sense, but I just wanted to lay down the foundations and just get everything built before I like take the time to make it look good and all that crap. So let's get it to the train station. Alright. So right here, I believe this is... Yeah, this is 18 assemblers making compact coal. All the sulfur and coal are relatively close by. I kind of lucked out with this area here. The coal is like maybe half a mile that way, and the sulfur is right here. And these two miners are overclocked like to the maximum. And basically, like when I started doing this project, I wanted to build on top of like how much of these resources I could get from these mines, and then just kind of do the math from there to determine how big I could go with the setup. So yeah, so here is where the compact coal is made. It's brought over here to the train station and is brought to these freight platforms, which are loaded onto the train, and then it will depart to the next stop. So let's head there now. Okay, I guess it's gonna dock and load some compact coal first. The animations in this game are so cool. I can't wait until the game is actually released. Like, this is just early access, so if you ever do buy this game and you see some weird shit, that's why. It's a work in progress. So don't hold it against Coffee Stain. I know that they made Goat Simulator, but it's not that bugged, I promise. Like, Goat Simulator was left bugged intentionally. And for good reason, because that game's hilarious. Alright, here we go. I'll go ahead and skip it, and skip to when we get there. Yeah, early access. Okay, here we are. We take autopilot off, and let's stop this rig. We'll just... Actually, no, I'll pull up to the station. So once again, floating platforms. It looks ridiculous, but it's gonna be fixed. It's gonna not look like some magical thing later. Anyways, so this whole thing, this entire setup here, runs off of two oil pumps over here. So these two oil pumps, this one and this one in the distance, run this entire system. The amount of oil required is only 300 cubic meters a minute, and that's what I have going through this pipe here. So let's follow the pipe all the way to the other side, and we'll go step by step to show you how this whole thing works. Okay, so I have 5 water extractors. Each of these water extractors, they output 120 cubic meters of water per minute. So 5 times 120, that's 600. So I have these Mark II pipes, which are able to carry 600 cubic meters per minute, and I have the water brought up to here, to these fluid buffers, these industrial fluid buffers, just to have backup in case something happens, kind of like a failsafe. Anyways, so it goes through this Mark II pump, gives it the head lift to go along this line here, and the water is put into these packagers right here, along with empty canisters, and the reason we do that is because we want to make packaged water. After that's done, the packaged water gets brought along here. Oh, I guess I should show this first. So these refineries, I have 10 refineries here, and these refineries are taking the crude oil from what I showed you before, and it's turning that into heavy oil residue. So with oil production in this game, is whenever you're producing a product, there's also a byproduct that you have to worry about. In this case, it's 2 polymer, or 20 polymer per minute that I have to get rid of. And if this gets backed up, if this polymer resin is not put somewhere, or either shredded or used for something else, it'll clog up the system and it'll fail. So I have it brought onto these belts here, and it's brought down here, and it's put into this crusher here, just to get it out of the system. I could use it to make plastic or rubber, but I really don't have a need for that right now, so I decided I would just go ahead and crush it, just to keep the system moving. So the heavy oil residue is brought into these refineries here, which are taking the packaged water and the heavy oil residue to make 60 packaged fuel per minute. And that packaged fuel is brought along this line into these packagers here, which are unpacking the fuel and putting it into these pipes here. And every time fuel is made, it also outputs 2 empty canisters, and we got to do something with those. So I decided that, well, why don't I just put them on this line here? Let's just follow it back. I'll just put it on this line, bring it all the way back to the beginning, and essentially just recycle it. So these these empty canisters are just like cycled through the system indefinitely. So that's pretty cool. So the fuel is brought along this line, and it's pushed this way with a pump, and it's brought to these refineries here. So that compact coal that I was bringing in via rail, that's where we use it. Like, it's brought into these refineries in addition to the fuel that we got from over here, into these refineries here to make turbo fuel. So I have 28 refineries making turbo fuel, and the turbo fuel is brought along this line to this Mark II pump and is carried over here to this industrial buffer. Now, I have 2 pumps here. It's not necessarily for head lift. I don't really need that, but they're here just to prevent the turbo fuel from leaving the buffer, like, backwards and going back through these lines and clogging these lines. So that's really what these are for. Like, the head lift doesn't matter. And then the turbo fuel is brought through this pipe to this Mark II pump and is then distributed to 110 fuel generators. So this is 10 rows of 11 fuel generators that this is powering right now. So yeah, that's how it works. You might be thinking, if you've played this game before, it might not look very efficient, and the only reason for that right now is because of this. So this gray line, this indicates the amount of power I potentially have, like the maximum capacity, right? And this yellow line is the amount that I need. Like, so the amount that I need is much, much lower than my maximum capacity. And the rate at which fuel is consumed in these generators is dependent on how high this yellow line is. So since it's way down here, like the fuel generators aren't using it as quickly. So it's not like 100% efficient, but as I build more and as I like use more power for buildings, I could get it up to like this threshold up here. And the fuel generators will be working at like maximum speed, and eventually the whole system will reach equilibrium, I guess. Yeah, so 16k megawatts from 300 crude oil. That's fucking nuts. But yeah, eventually I'm gonna clean this up, make it look less ridiculous, you know, make it look, you know, structurally sound, because it is literally just floating platforms. Um, but yeah. Anyways, that's my setup, and I recommend getting this game. It's really good. It's like $30 on Steam. The developers are amazing. They're really funny, and they are really involved with the community. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.